So, hello everyone, welcome to Babylon Tome. Today we're going to make one about the Jesuit Fauci, who actually constantly is before Congress, and the only one who's willing to confront this man is Rand Paul. And we're going to listen to something that have come out today, probably that this hearing was going on today or yesterday, concerning again the gain on function. And well, let's listen to Rand Paul, and we'll comment afterwards.
Viruses that in nature only infect animals were manipulated in the Wuhan lab to gain the function of infecting humans. This research fits the definition of the research that the NIH said was subject to the pause in 2014 to 2017, a pause in funding on gain of function. But the NIH failed to recognize this, defines it away, and it never came under any scrutiny. Dr. Richard E. Bright, a molecular biologist from Rutgers, described this research in Wuhan as the Wuhan lab used NIH funding to construct novel chimeric SARS-related coronaviruses able to infect human cells and laboratory animals. This is high-risk research that creates new potential pandemic pathogens that exist only in the lab, not in nature. This research matches, these are Dr. E. Bright's words, this research matches, indeed epitomizes, the definition of gain-of-function research, done entirely in Wuhan, for which there was supposed to be a federal pause. Dr. Fauci, knowing that it is a crime to lie to Congress, do you wish to retract your statement of May 11th where you claimed that the NIH never funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan?
Senator Paul, I have never lied before the Congress, and I do not retract that statement. This paper that you are referring to was judged by qualified staff up and down the chain as not being gain of function. Let me finish.
You take an animal virus and you increase its transmissibility to humans,
right.
You're saying that's not gain of function?
Yeah, that is correct. And Senator Paul, you do not know what you are talking about, quite frankly. And I want to say that officially. You do not know what you are talking about. Okay, you get one person.
Let's read from the NIH definition of gain of function. This is your definition that you guys wrote. It says that scientific research that increases the transmissibility among mammals is gain of function. They took animal viruses that only occur in animals and they increased their transmissibility to humans. How you can say that is not gain of function?
It is not.
It's a dance, and you're dancing around this because you're trying to obscure responsibility for 4 million people dying around the world from a pandemic.
And let's let Dr. Fauci.
I have to, well, now you're getting into something. If the point that you are making is that the grant that was funded as a sub-award from EcoHealth to Wuhan created SARS-CoV-2. That's where you are getting. Let me finish.
We don't know.
Well,
we don't
wait
know
a minute.
If it did come from the lab, but all the evidence is pointing that it came from the lab, and there will be responsibility for those who funded the lab, including yourself.
I totally
This committee will allow the witness to respond.
I totally resent the lie that you are now propagating, Senator, because if you look at the viruses that were used in the experiments, that were given in the annual reports, that were published in the literature, it is molecularly impossible.
No one's saying those viruses caused it.
It
no
is
one is alleging that
molecularly.
those viruses caused the pandemic. What we're alleging is that gain-of-function research was going on in that lab, and NIH funded it.
That is
you can't
not.
Get away from it. It meets your definition, and you are obfuscating the truth.
I'm not obfuscating the truth.
Senator
You are the
Paul's
one.
time is expired, but I will allow the witness to.
Let me just finish. I want everyone to understand that if you look at those viruses, and that's judged by qualified virologists and evolutionary biologists, Those viruses are molecularly impossible
No one's
to
saying
result
they are. No
in
one's saying those viruses
SARS-CoV-2.
caused the pandemic.
Senator Paul,
We're saying they are gain-of-function viruses because they were
they're not.
animal viruses that became more transmissible in human, and you funded it.
And
You won't
you,
admit the truth.
and you
Senator
implying,
Paul, your time has expired, and I will allow witnesses who come before this committee to respond.
and you are implying that what we did was responsible for the deaths of individual. I totally resent
could
that.
have been.
And if
And it
anybody
could
is
have been.
lying here, Senator, it is you.
Senator Smith.
Thank you, Dr. Fauci. And thanks to all of our panelists for being here today. And thank you, Chair Murray and Ranking Member Burr. I just want to say, Dr. Fauci, is there anything more that you would like to say to counteract these attacks on your integrity that we've all just witnessed?
Well, Senator, thank you. I don't think I have anything further to say. This is a pattern that Senator Paul has been doing now at multiple hearings based on no reality. He keeps talking about gain of function. This has been evaluated multiple times by qualified people to not fall under the gain of function definition. I have not lied before Congress. I have never lied, certainly not before Congress. Case closed.
Alors, c'est intéressant. Hein? Ben, moi, je trouve ça intéressant. Du moins, là, sorry, I was in French here. So it's very interesting to see what happened here. Well, the matter is, the Senator Paul is trying to prevent a war, you know. When you think about it, you know, from a 20,000 feet distance, really, this guy is trying to find someone guilty of doing something that caused something. And you know, there's ample evidence now that say that they were doing a gain of function. It seems to be the first path, to my reasoning, to find some kind of trace of who could be responsible for that before going further. And that's exactly what the Senator Rand Paul is doing right now. And really, if nobody is found guilty in the United States and that China is not really happy, well, obviously, you know, they will blame the United States before being blamed. And they will say, you see, the you know, political climate that's going on in the U.S. caused this actual war, refusing to put a blame on someone that seems to be absolutely guilty. And I'm not saying Dr. Fauci is guilty. He's most likely is because he's a Jesuit. But the point is here that to reach the first step, which is who is potentially responsible for doing that. And, you know, of course, China and this NIH seems to be the most obvious proof that these things are going on, that the gain of function was done and that apparently was not permitted in the U.S. to do that. And so I don't know the details of that, but that's the first step in order to identify from where it came. And as Senator Paul said, from the get-go, they told us that even the Chinese government told us that it all started in the UN lab. And so it's a reasonable assumption what Rand Paul is doing, accusing Dr. Fauci. And you've seen the ass licker at the end there, where she said, you know, the attack on your integrity, well, the integrity may be, look here, you see this is Anthony Fauci, and the integrity of this man can be seen here. You see the IHS just between the two birds there? So this is a Jesuit college. You know, the Jesuit, in their oath, they promised to lie in order to give the ascension to the Pope. And so this is a classical Jesuit liar that we see there, an 80-year-old, so he's pretty used to these tactics of those Jesuits to lie if necessary in order to give the power to the Pope, and that all these controversies, they started in a in a newspaper, I believe it was Newsweek, that published them about the NIH funding the UN lab, but they can be seen in this book here, and he gives the source of his research, and it's basically the argument of Rand Paul. And so this guy's Bill Hughes is a Seventh-day Adventist, independent Seventh-day Adventist, and he's written very interesting books and very interesting and factual books. And I encourage you to buy them. And boy, I mean, last 20 years, how much the Congress and the Senate have changed. If you were used to listening to what was going on in the U.S., 20, 30 years ago, you cannot recognize, you would not say that's the United States, basically. It seems that political correctness have taken all into this country, just like in Canada, just like everywhere else in the world. And that, these experts, and he's actually saying that this is an evolutionary microbiologist and so forth. So this is classic theory of evolution science proposed by the Jesuit and the Catholic Church, of course. And that, it's popularized and they defend it as such. And so, boy, that the political system of the U.S. has changed over the past 20 years. It's exactly like Ellen White said. She said that the Protestant will realize their mistake of accepting Catholics in politics only when it's too late to escape the snare. I think we're there. We're there. We've been there for the past 10 years. I mean, particularly since Obama has been on a downward path, even more pronounced now, even with Biden. So on that, God bless you. See you next time.